Hi again, everyone. This is Thais, and today I'm going to talk about the effects on the brain from foods we're consuming daily. So, believe it or not, we are each experiencing a variation of brain damage. By this, I mean brain inflammation. If you have brain fog, problems with focus, memory issues, frequent headaches or migraines, chronic fatigue, vertigo, disorientation, even tremors, and more severe neurological conditions, you have a degree of brain inflammation. Let's start with the hippocampus. The hippocampus is embedded on both sides of the brain, and it regenerates stem cells for the brain. It is responsible for short-term and long-term memory. It regulates our emotions. It processes sensory information like smell and touch. And it sends input to different parts of the brain. When the stress hormone cortisol increases to very high levels for prolonged periods of time, it triggers the hippocampus into inflammation. And the hippocampus then decreases its production of stem cells for the brain. The cortisol hormone, however, is not a bad guy. It is a protective hormone for the body when we're in stress. But when we are overstressed, or consume something that triggers it to increase to very high levels, it then triggers inflammation. So what causes cortisol to increase to high levels? I am just going to cover a few of the main ones. The first one is stress. This is emotional stress, mental stress, environmental stress, because we ingest so many toxins and heavy metals from our environment, and lifestyle stress. To counter this, find ways to take the body and mind out of stress, such as mindful breathing techniques, bioenergetics, qigong, simple yoga, tai chi movements, nature, and other practices that promotes the mind and body being in a state of calm. So I personally do Wim Hof breathing technique in the mornings, and I do simple yoga, and I also do qigong, which helps with the being in a state of yourself. And I also do bioenergetics, which is tapping the meridians and the lymphatic system throughout the body. This actually, it energizes you, and it just makes you feel in a complete different state of calm and alertness, and you just feel really great. Now, the second that triggers cortisol levels into being high is foods, the foods we eat. The major one being hydrogenated vegetable oils, which are in everything. High sodium, highly processed foods with all kinds of artificial ingredients that our bodies simply doesn't recognize. These trigger the body and brain into an inflamed state. Eat clean whole foods and avoid all the processed foods that are often cooked in vegetable oils or have it added to it. Now, walnuts, macadamia, pistachio, almonds, these are super brain foods that assist the brain and prevent inflammatory conditions in the brain. Now, berries, especially wild blueberries or wild blueberry extract, these detox the brain. Warm lemon water first thing in the morning. This hydrates the body, boosts the brain, and flushes out the body at the same time. This is actually my personal ritual in the mornings. You can have it room temperature or warm lemon water, first thing. A third one that triggers increased cortisol levels is something most people are consuming first thing in the morning, coffee. Coffee is extremely inflammatory to the brain because it is the most sprayed crop with pesticides and chemicals, and it is often high in heavy metals such as barium and lead, as well as mycotoxins produced by mold. If you really want to drink coffee, it is necessary to purchase organic coffee. That said, coffee triggers cortisol spikes due to its very high amounts of caffeine, and it sends the adrenals into fight or flight mode, triggering the hippocampus into inflammation. A healing and better alternative is matcha green tea. This tea is a powerful elixir, and it is consumed by Zen monks in Japan because it assists them in being mentally focused and alert while being in a relaxed state during their long periods of meditation. Matcha, though it contains caffeine, it has its own remedy in its constituents because it contains high levels of L-theanine, which is an amino acid that lowers cortisol levels. Matcha also stabilizes blood sugar levels. It increases mental alertness and a state of calm, and it has neuroprotective properties. Now, when you mix it with full-fat coconut cream or MCT coconut oil in a latte or a creamy drink, it becomes a healer for the brain that protects it from inflammation. Matcha coconut oil combination also heals candida overgrowth and promotes healthy, good gut bacteria. And another major one that spikes cortisol levels is alcohol. Alcohol is the most socially accepted drug, and it is highly inflammatory to the brain. All alcohol is inflammatory. I know there's a campaign of red wine being good for the body or the heart, but it is inflammatory, as the body registers it as a poison, and it is. Studies in behavioral neuroscience showed that alcohol targets the hippocampus, producing cognitive impairment. This, the more it's consumed, causes the hippocampus to shrink, which then decreases the production of new brain stem cells, because the hippocampus has been triggered into an inflamed state. Alcohol also targets the nervous system, which controls everything in the body. It does so much more because alcohol puts the entire body in an inflamed state. And the more it is consumed, the more the body is being poisoned. So those are the top ones that are causing brain inflammation daily, and they are preventable. We can start with not toxifying the body and brain with the things that I mentioned. We can consume more nuts, berries, green leafy vegetables, pineapples, which reduces or stops vertigo, ginger, turmeric, shiitake mushrooms, omega-3s like sardines and salmon, or dulce and Irish sea moss, seaweeds. These have high DHA that reduces brain inflammation. Just make sure it's from a clean source due to heavy metals. Now, another way to heal the brain and body is essential oils such as sage, rosemary, frankincense, thyme, and neroli. You can put these in a diffuser, especially at night when you're going to bed, and these support the brain tremendously. And my favorite, dark chocolate or raw cacao. You can make raw cacao smoothie, or I eat dark chocolate every day with a little bit of organic peanut butter, which not only fights inflammation in the brain, cacao or dark chocolate, it supports the heart and it feeds the good gut bacteria. The gut is connected to the brain in what is called the gut-brain axis. So a strong gut equals a strong brain. Now, in my short ebook, the simple reason diets fail, this outlines all the ways to detox the body of heavy metals and rid the body of parasites with foods and herbs. And it is available on my website. I will also put the link to it below. It really is now a decision to live a better life in a body that is well and thriving. A degeneration into disease is the model of life we are programmed to accept, when the opposite is true. We are regenerative beings, but it begins with what we choose to ingest into our bodies daily. We have a choice. Thank you for listening. See you in the next video.